Ooh. What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a brand new episode of Chris's Custom Collectibles, and today we are going to be pimping out Chewies Blaster from Solo: A Star Wars Story. This is the Nerf Blaster version. Now, I actually managed to check out Solo last weekend with two of my mates. It's a pretty damn good film. If you guys dug Rogue One, you're definitely going to dig Solo. So yes, we are going to be pimping out Chewies Blaster that he uses in the film. So you guys have seen me pimp out previous Nerf blasters. There's not a lot in terms of the process. It's not overly complicated, but with the right paint apps, we can really make this thing look $1 million. $1,000,001, give or take. So there is not much reference material of the blaster. The main source of reference is actually on the box, on the front and the back, even though this picture is a bit bigger. Also, with the Hot Toys Solo version of Chewie about to be released, I have been looking at reference photos of that, but for the most part, I get a pretty good idea of the details in this prop. So we are going to be doing some burn and scorch patterns on the ends of the barrel here. So the first step is we have to sand away the Star Wars sign and all the legal, safety, mumbo jumbo, all that unfun stuff. After that, I'm then going to be taking off certain pieces before we prime it, just so there's no exposed areas of the rest of the blaster when we put it all back together. Most notably, the pump action here. Oh yeah. Now, I do actually want to keep these lights completely visible with the end result, because it does have a nice little green light there. The butt of the gun comes off like so. We also have the scope. And of course, we're just going to unscrew the pump action handle here. Now, we're going to be using a flat grey primer for this bad boy. We're then going to go in with a matte black, and then we can go into the detailing work on the panels. This hand grip here actually has to be a nice brown, or sort of like a copper brown. We'll then be doing the scorch patterns and any other little details that I may want to add. Just because of the lack of reference material, we can get a bit creative. A good way to kill some time for the day, geeks. So with that being said, let's get to it. Okay, so in terms of dry brushing the main body of the gun and the grip itself, I'm going to be using a wider brush. Now, if I were to use a smaller brush over the body of the main part of the blaster, it just wouldn't have that uniform effect. Some parts would be uneven, other parts would have too much, other parts would have too little dry brushing, whereas using a big brush, you go over the whole area and it's just gonna make the piece a lot more natural looking. So once I do these pieces, I'm actually gonna be hand painting the ends of the barrels with the chrome metallic. I find that spraying chrome metallic sometimes, especially in cold weather, can take quite a while to properly cure. Like a day later, you'll pick it up and you'll get thumbprints, fingerprints in it, and it just hasn't cured properly. After that, I'm gonna tape off this section here and hand paint the chrome silver all along the base here and any other little details, keeping in mind that at the end of this build, I still have to remove the paint and the primer off the illuminated parts here. Okay, so I've put the blaster back together, and before we move on to the burns around the barrel of the blaster itself, I'm actually going to go in with a raw umber oil color and kind of sort of give the effect of soiling and just wear and tear around the metallic areas. So obviously the part that's going to be exposed and going to pick up this color the most are the parts that I painted with the chrome silver. So you can see there I'm just starting to dabble around areas, especially around the hole openings here, and just really gives a nice worn look to the barrel itself. Just get some paper towel and sort of wipe away the excess so it's not too harsh on the eyes. You can see right there, it just gives that subtle effect of a really worn blaster that has really gone through the elements. Once this step's done, we're gonna move on to the exhaust burns around the barrels, and then we're gonna seal it up and call it a day. Now, one more detail before we move on to those exhaust burns is using some thinners and removing the paint on the panels that illuminate with the green light. So it's one detail that I nearly actually forgot. As you can see here, it's sort of stripping away the paint around the perimeter of the little panels themselves. So I'm just going to go back in with some black paint and also with some of the oil color, just to really add some soiling around these panels here. Okay, the second last step in this custom collectible is to do the exhaust burns from extreme heat when this thing fires off. So you guys have seen me do this for the Star-Lord blaster, and also I'm pretty sure it was the Death Trooper blaster I did a year or so back. So it's a combination this time around of a copper color, a metallic blue, a baby blue, and a pink. So I'm going to be starting off with the copper as the base color around the nozzle. Gonna go in with the pink. I'm gonna be shifting between brushwork and handwork just so it looks a bit more natural. I'm then gonna go in with the metallic blue and then a final coat of the baby blue, just blending all four of these colors together. Once that's done, we're gonna seal it up with a gloss coat, and then we're gonna call it a day. So thanks very much for watching, guys. This piece is available for sale on my Etsy store, and I will leave the link down below in the video description. Now, next week is a very special week. Next week marks part 1 in my Whiplash cosplay video series that I've named Mr. Whippy. So episode 1 is basically going to be about the game plan in terms of construction, because this is probably going to be one of the biggest cosplay builds of my cosplay career thus far. So I've already started the leather work. I'm going to be having Miles, you guys know as Flux Electronics, helping me with all the 3D rendering. I'm actually getting a body scan in the next couple of days so we can scale all of the exoskeleton appropriately. Guys, have yourselves a cracker of a day. Hope you're well, hope you're happy. Be merry, be silly, and until next time, geeks, please always remember, cosplayers do it best.